What's up, and welcome back to Interpreting the Stars, where today we're talking about an older horror film that I've never seen before now. It's Phantasm! Now, this film came out in 1979, so right about the same time as other horror classics such as Friday the 13th, Halloween, even Nightmare on Elm Street. But unlike those other franchises, this franchise didn't have 20 sequels. It had like 3 that were branched out between several years, and I'm not sure if that just means that they're not as popular or what. But what I can say is, out of all these different horror franchises, this has got to be the most original. Now, whether that's a good thing or not, I will let you decide. For now, let's see if I should have kept my experience watching this movie verboten or not. Let's get cracking. This review is brought to you by the word of the day, verboten. Forbidden, especially prohibited by dictate, aka Michigan citizens are verboten on leaving their homes unless it's necessary. Doesn't make them stop, though. Phantasm tells the story of Mike, a young kid who is experiencing something otherworldly when he witnesses a tall man, a mortician and grave robber with extraordinary strength surrounded by mysteriously violent dwarves and flying spheres. The tall man is causing alarm for Mike and his brother, and they decide to protect themselves from this man that can only be described as a monster. But the more they try, the more it seems to be impossible. This is such a weird movie. So weird. There's so many moving parts to this film that, to be honest, I'm still confused with and have a list of unanswered questions as to what I just saw. I think that's because the film refuses to give the audience exposition and explain what this all means. Why is the tall man doing what he's doing? Something about slavery, but more than that, who knows? Why are the dwarves? I mean, I know what they are. I don't know why they're so short. Why is the tall man so tall, and why is he so strong? What purpose does that serve? Why does cutting off his limbs reanimate them? What purpose does that serve? What in the world is the succubus chick? What in the world are the flying spheres that fly through the air? What in the world is going on? Past that, the way this film ends makes no sense as to how it's even a franchise at all. I'm utterly confused as to what this is. But the nice thing about it is that there's a theme going on in this movie, and it has something to do with nightmares. Not unlike Freddy Krueger in Nightmare on Elm Street, and real nightmares have moving parts that don't make a lick of sense. And if the film is trying to play itself out like an actual nightmare, then maybe bravo, maybe those unanswered questions are a smart move. And from what I understand, there's a mythology to the character of the tall man that isn't really explored in this first movie, and that's fine. But I don't want to be forced to watch the sequels in order to understand what I just saw, which meant that the film probably needed a little bit more exposition. Otherwise, what this film mostly feels like is somebody was high while writing a horror film. So let's take a look at those horror aspects. I will say that the tall man is indeed creepy, and a part of that really does have to do with the unknowns surrounding his character. It makes a film that much more unpredictable when you don't know what this guy is or what he can do. That alone makes your brain operate and think about all the different things his character can possibly do. And I've said it before that imagination is the best tool for horror, as your mind is the only thing that can conjure up the scariest image for you. The movie itself isn't that scary, but there are a couple of sequences in the movie that are unnerving, to say the least, so I can see people wanting to see answers, which makes sense for at least one sequel, but in general, I don't think it makes sense narratively for there to be a sequel, and I can't explain that any further unless I spoil you. As far as technical areas are considered, I think we have some seriously cheesy acting going on here, which includes emotions and expressions that I didn't fully believe, like when Mike collects a disembodied finger that moves on its own, and his brother doesn't believe him until he looks at it, and then he says, nonchalantly and without freaking out, "Okay, I believe you." Really, dude? Is that all you got? It's a moving finger. It moves on its own in a pile of yellow blood, and all you got is, "Okay, I believe you." And it's a number of things like that in this movie that made the acting just stand out in a bad way. But there's also a number of good elements too, like the funeral home itself, which was basically a character in the film, and the designs on the marble interior made the building feel like a maze, which was good for production design, and the musical score was pretty decent. It wasn't as memorable as other horror franchises around the same time, but it does have a distinct sound to it that I wasn't against. And I'll say it again, all the moving parts to this film that made it unpredictable also made it more original than any of those other slasher horror films. It's different, which is good. I don't know how I feel about the movie overall. Like I said, it's weird. Plus, it's a product of its time too. It feels old. All it really has going for it is the mystery, the unknown, the hunger to know more about what the heck is going on. My unbiased score is 64%, which, like I said, is just enough to keep it afloat, and my bias score is pretty much agreeing with that, just a little bit higher at 68%, because more often than not, I did have an okay time with it. Averaging the two scores comes to a final grade of 66%. 66 out of 100 possible stars is a D-letter grade. It's not bad. There's something there to expand on for sure, but at this point, I can't really say if I'm a fan yet. It's just too weird, with not many answers, but tell me your thoughts on it in the comments down below. If you've seen it, does it get any better from this point forward? Do I get those answers that I so crave, or is it just more questions? Let me know. As for YouTube, you know what to do. Hit the subscribe button if you like this review, because there's more like it coming out. Hit the thumbs up button, because that always helps out my channel. And don't forget about the little bell icon, because that'll help notify you when I come out with my next review. And until then, peace out!